All right, good evening, everybody. So, are you feel tired now? Still feel bored? Well, I believe that this session will be very, very creative. Well, I've been doodling all of the Twitter all the while. So that's me. So that's all about content creation. So I believe all of you know what is content creation. So who doesn't know here? Can you raise your hand? Okay. Anyways, content creation is you create content that you share on media. So the most famous social media. So all the content that you created is based on your ideas, your creativity. It can be from government sectors, it can be any news. Actually, the beginning of current content creation is already from the medias. They created that first. But now, since the introduction of social media, everybody has a chance to actually show themselves in social media. So everybody, well, we have people like YouTubers, we have Instagrammers, we have even artists like me. So we have a lot. So, okay, without further ado, so I would like to introduce the speakers. Okay, first, Mr. Chuck from Chili Sauce. Right, and Mr. George. Hello. And Denku from Denku Production. Okay, Miss Christine. Hey. And finally, Anderson. All right. So let's begin the session from Chuck first. All right.
Hello. I could have sworn there were more people this morning. Anyway, guys. Okay, actually the first two slides are messed up. Give me a second. All right, so we've heard a lot of technical terms today. So from Chili Sauce, I mean, if you've been to my website, chilisauce.my, feel free to go now. You'll know that we don't really talk in terms of really complicated terms. So what I'm going to try to do today is help you guys to understand how social media works, which I think a lot of brands still don't understand how social media works properly yet. And we're going to do that by way of a very simple analogy, just to explain it in a little bit clearer to you guys, okay? So, of course, this is MSMW, so feel free to retweet us, Facebook us, and Instagram us. We are totally not active on Instagram, but we should be. Yeah. All right, so let's go to it. So, I want to talk first about a concept. How many of you know about this concept, the uninvited brand? Anybody? Brand people here? Are there any advertising people here in the audience? Advertising people? Hands up. Are you serious? One. Anybody? Agency people. Yes, one. Wow, shit, no clients here, wait. Okay, anyway. So, let me talk about the concept of the uninvited brand. So, a lot of people think that social media is the new frontier, right? You don't have newspapers anymore, you don't have magazines anymore. So what else do you have? Social media is a very popular place now, but coming onto it is a very different experience from traditional media. If you want an analogy of traditional media is like what's happening right now. I'm on stage, everyone's looking at me, everyone's saying, okay, impress me, or do something, right? So that's traditional media. Whereas on social media, it's very, very different. Everybody's talking to each other, everyone's interacting with each other. It's no longer about somebody on a stage anymore. So that's where the concept of the uninvited brand comes into play. Okay, so let me just read this out. It's got one really big word, but I'll explain, okay? Brands rushed into social media, viewing social networks, video sharing, online communities, and microblogging sites as the panacea. Basically means cure, okay? To diminishing returns for traditional brand building routes. But as more branding activity moves to the web, marketeers are confronted with the stark realization that social media was made for people, not for brands. Okay, these are two Harvard people, so obviously they know what they're talking about. But that sounds really technical, all right? So what I want to do is kind of just simplify it for all of you. Okay, so think of social media as this. It's a house party, okay? It's a gathering of friends, different friends, sometimes with common interests, sometimes not with common interests. But that's essentially what social media is. So sometimes brands consider themselves the guest, sometimes they're the host, but every brand will think that they're the life of the party. And this is the wrong assumption, because when you come to social media, you're that guy selling MLM, okay? You're at a house party, everybody's having fun. You initiate a conversation and say, hi, I'm from, I don't know, Amway or whatever, right? And then the other person just doesn't want to talk to you anymore. So that's a very common experience that people have with brands on social media. So how do you get past that, right? This is actually what most brands end up with being like on social media, unattended to while everyone else is having a lot of fun, okay? And a lot of brands actually spend a lot of money on social media. They host giveaways, they host competitions, they host events, all that kind of thing. And essentially they're left footing the bill and they're left with very little to show for it. I think a few of the speakers have spoken about this before. How to translate how to translate social media results into real conversions. Okay? So I just want to bring you through 3 easy steps of how to change the way you approach social media. So think of it again in the house party situation, right? You don't want to be a salesman. You just want to be a regular guy. So start talking like a regular guy, okay? But before you even do that, you have to identify what your personality is, what you stand for. I think these things are very important, okay? A lot of brands actually, the bigger the company is, the harder it is to establish a personality for yourself, right? Like you look at someone like Intel or Microsoft, essentially, yeah, you can kind of imagine like Bill Gates, who's not even there anymore. But aside from that, they're not really personable in that sense. But there are a few companies in Malaysia who are doing this quite well. Okay, so let's take a look at these examples. And are you guys ready to interact a little bit? Can I hear a yeah? Yeah. Okay, good. At least this side. This side, please wake up. Can you interact with me just a little bit? Okay, the ones who are not zombies at the back, can you guys say yeah? Oh my God, it's like Walking Dead, man. Okay, so Maxis, right? Full disclosure, Maxis is one of the main clients of chili sauce, but anyway. What kind of personality do you think Maxis is? Can someone just shout it out? What kind of personality do you think Maxis is? What kind of person do you think Maxis is? Can anyone answer me? A person, just describe a person, like, a mom or, whatever. Sorry? A father. What kind of father? Yes, so that's right, a reliable father. So that's where Maxis has actually gotten their personality correct, because someone can actually identify it, okay? So Maxis is the cool dad, believing above all in getting the job done. Now to our foreign delegates, Maxis is actually the biggest telco in Malaysia. So they're a little bit more expensive than everybody else. They have a sort of corporate image to them, but they're starting to do little fun things here and there. Kind of like how your dad tries to learn a Miley Cyrus song, but fails. Yeah, so it's kind of like that. Okay, so let's try DG. Okay, who can tell me what kind of person DG is? Young, what kind of brother? Kaki. Sorry, what? Sorry, again? Creepy. Does anyone think DG is creepy? Seriously? Is it just because of this guy, is it? Okay, maybe I chose a particularly creepy picture, but anyone else? DG, come on. Brother, okay. But related to you, really? Or can we? Someone I want to give. Okay, so it's pretty close. It's a funny but helpful friend. Okay, so he's also like having fun with you and everything. But if you need something, he will follow you, right? So yeah, so that's how it works, right? So young, fun, hip. DG has his personality down. Now what about Celcom? Anybody? Yeah, that's what I thought. So Celcom as a brand, and I'm sorry, is anybody from Celcom here? Good, okay. So Celcom as a brand is a little bit impersonable. You can't really identify what kind of brand Celcom is, which makes its communication strategy very difficult, okay? If you don't know who you are, how do you talk to people, right? So, all of Celcom's advertising is all about foreign people on Celcom, right? But foreign people live in foreign countries. How do they use Celcom? It's a very strange thing. So that's a bit about personalities. Now, let's go on to something else. Fitting in. How to talk on social media, okay? Now, have you guys seen something like this before? You have, right? Yeah, okay. So, first of all, when you're putting something on social media, you don't actually need to put a date because the date is on the post and the time is on the post. So you don't have to repeat these things anymore, right? When you put something like this on social media, you're basically saying, please don't read me, okay? Because nobody talks like this in real life. If you're at a house party and someone goes like, media release 25, whatever, right? Nobody's going to respond to you. So how do you, okay, let me show you another example. So this is actually my boss's restaurant, so thank God my boss is not here as well. So this one, please find the touch menu for our Christmas Eve promotion this 24th. Set dinner includes valet parking. Who talks like this? And when you don't talk like this, you don't associate with it. And when you don't associate with it, you don't absorb it, right? I mean, you think about your newsfeed. You got so many things on your newsfeed coming out all the time. You're only going to focus on a few things, right? Which is why, at Chili Sauce, we put so much effort into trying to sound as casual, making our images very attractive and all that sort of thing. And then this one is actually from a real blog. This is talking about some Samsung launch. Like, you can imagine like a blogger is like, oh, today I ate this food, it was beautiful. Wow, that was fast. Wait. This one? Hello. I'm trying not to say something about MC right now, but anyway. Oh shit, I just did. Anyway, okay, so like bloggers talk about like, oh my god, today I ate this cool food or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden the next post is like, in conjunction with the arrival of Samsung Galaxy S3 and A5 or whatever, you know that it's not the blogger talking anymore. Why do they change their language when they're posting about a brand? You shouldn't do that. I mean, the whole concept of native advertising is talking like a regular person, right? So keep in mind for that one person in this room that actually is from an agency. Yes, I'm talking to you. Hi, how are you? Yes, try to get your brands to talk a little bit more like humans, all right? Okay, so this is how Chili Sauce actually talks. So this is a sponsored content that we do it for Hotlink. As you can see, why Hotlink so nice one? Oh my god, how awesome is that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, chukups, So we kind of talk a little bit like very casual language, very easy to understand. And we feel that it actually makes it easier to read, rather than reading something that's so official. Yeah, hold on. So what have we learned? Okay, the first one is talk like you're an actual real person, or better yet, a friend. Okay, don't be so orang putih about it lah. Sorry about the orang putih. So orang putih is a term for like white people. We apologize to all the white people in the house. Yeah, but this is introduction to our culture. Like when you're not around, that's what people will call you, orang putih. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that again. Okay, don't be overly polite. Oh shit, I just was too polite just now. People will think that you're trying to sell something. Okay, so you go to that party, someone's like, hello, sir. Okay, I don't want your keychains. Thank you very much. Like so, try to talk like a real person. Hey, bro, how's it going? That kind of language, right? Something important. And don't shout about your own awesome products. It's a house party. It's not a pasar malam. Okay, but if you want to use any of these things for humor, then fine. That's totally cool, right? So with that in mind, okay, let's move on to the third one, which is make conversations. No point going to a house party if you're just talking to yourself, right? So, go up to somebody, it's like, hey bro, I noticed like, you got a really cool Nike shoe or whatever, where did you get it, So that's what you call a relation point, okay? So try and find relation points. Nando's is amazing at doing this actually. For the local market, I would consider Nando's to be one of the most progressive Malaysian advertisers. So during election season, obviously, there was this slogan going around, Janji di beri-beri. So this one is Janji di peri-peri. It's brilliant. It's very simple, went viral. You'll see a lot of Nando stuff in your feed simply because they know how to find relation points. Make conversations. DG is good at this as well. Every time, you find something to talk about, even World Nutella Day. I didn't even know there was a World Nutella Day, but they knew about it. And they said, go on, tell us what you love eating it with. A very simple thing, got lots of engagement. Okay? And then once you're part of the party, then maybe you can push some of your MLM stuff, okay? So this is a summary of the problem, right? Nobody actually thinks like this in real life. And this next slide is aimed at the girl in pink. Chili Sauce is sponsored packages ranging from 15 to 25K. So if you want one, contact Chuck at chilisauce.my or Noor at chilisauce.my. Awesome. All right, so I just want to move into one quick case study before I end. Okay, so this is how we apply everything that we just learned. Of course, there's a lot more to learn, but this is like just kind of like a summary lah. Okay, so we published, we had a campaign for Domino's. They wanted to launch a new top secret flavor. Shout out to Social Grooves who got this campaign for us. Social Grooves is one of the co-organizers. So we actually found this story about a British agent who who used to live in Cameron Highlands in the 40s, and his code name was 007. Okay, no, really one, really. We actually got real sources and everything for this, so please check it out. In fact, Bhaskaran, are you there? Yeah, can you switch over? Okay, so I just want to show you a little bit of the article. Oh, sorry. Okay, never mind. Actually, don't switch over. Lydia, can you just tweet the URL now? Okay, so we're going to tweet the URL over there. You guys can click on it. Okay, and do check out the article. So essentially, you'll notice as you read the article, it's a very long article. It's about, I think average engagement time was about 7 minutes, okay? Which is unheard of in sponsored content. So we were totally transparent about the fact that it is sponsored. Okay, you'll see sponsored links there. You'll see thank you Domino's. You know, we put it up front, like it's totally sponsored. And then the other thing that you notice is that we understand the attention span of the reader. So somewhere within the article, we'll write something like, okay guys, enough of the sponsored thing. Now let's have the story, which is really cool. Okay? So you have to manage the attention span of your reader. For instance, things like if you put a sponsored plug before the share button, generally it doesn't do so well unless you do the sponsored plug really well. The other one is integrating the brand message with the content, so it's not just at the start, at the end. If you can find places to put it in the middle, that's great. You know, Dan, you guys do a lot of sponsored content as well, so I would love to hear your learnings about this later. And this was the result. Okay, lots of comments, people saying it's a really cool story. And it had 7.6K shares on Facebook, 37,000 views, and it keeps going up. Every time someone discovers it, it goes up again, it goes viral again, right? Engagement time was 6 minutes and 58 seconds, which is the longest of any article on chili sauce. Generally, we range between 4 to 5 minutes, which I think some of the speakers earlier this morning were talking about engagement time and how it's more important than page views, and that's important because, you know, if someone comes to your page for 10 seconds, are they actually getting anything out of it? Now, in this case, we can actually prove that people got the brand message, okay? Because I don't think a lot of you have seen this before. Whoa, this is how you do sponsored content. I swear, I do not know this guy, okay? Mind blown, blah, 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 blah. Chili Sauce even managed to sneak in a specific sponsor for the article. Brilliant work too. Very interesting article in Domino's plug. This girl, I think I know. And they also revolutionized sponsored news by for brilliantly incorporating the sponsors into their articles. And this is my favorite. Story about secret agents, beautiful women, blah, 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 blah. Makes me want to drive Aston Martin. At the bottom there, doesn't matter, 50% off pizza. So we know that the brand message went in, okay? So you guys can check how we did it in the sponsored content. I think it'd be quite interesting learning. And in the meantime, you know, visit us on Facebook, tweet us at chilisauce.my, or tag us on Instagram and we probably won't reply. Thank you very much.
All right, woke it up. Hello. And my mic's already left.
Hello. Okay, now we introduce Josh.
Yeah, I brought my own. I bring all my own stuff, except for the mic. I'm the only guy brave enough to wear this mic after what happened during the last session. So if this goes out while I'm talking, somebody stand up on a table, wave your hands so that I know that nobody can hear me. So my name is Josh Steimle, and about 3 years ago, I started writing for Forbes magazine. I manage a digital marketing agency called MWI, and this opportunity to write for Forbes came up. Not as a full-time journalist, but as a contributor, meaning I don't get paid, but I get to write for Forbes. And I started writing for Forbes, and then that expanded, and I now have written over 200 articles for Forbes, Plus, Entrepreneur, Mashable, TechCrunch, VentureBeat, Fast Company, a bunch of different publications. And the thing about being a contributor is you don't get paid, but people still think you're a journalist, so you get all these pitches from companies. So I have PR firms and people sending me requests every single day, about 50 of them a day, saying, hey, I want you to write a story about my company. Most of these companies are never going to get into the mainstream media, But there are other ways that you can do PR on your own, and that's what I'm here to talk about today. So everybody wants to get these badges. You want to get these logos on your website, right? I wanted to do this. This is part of the reason I started writing for Forbes, is I wanted to get all these logos on my website. And the reason we want to get all these logos on our startup's website or our business website, or the reason that even if we're in government or we're doing something where we're not actually selling something, we still want to get in these publications, is because we want credibility, we want influence, we want to sell a bunch of stuff, if that's what we're doing, if we're selling stuff. And frankly, it just feels kind of nice to have that validation. It's great for our ego to get into these publications. But most people are not going to make it into these publications. So what do we do? Well, the people who do get in traditionally have gone through PR, and they've gone down this route of doing the press release, which Chuck already showed you. Press releases don't get read. People don't read those things. Journalists certainly don't read press releases. So press releases are pretty much a waste of money, waste of time if you're doing those, because nobody reads that stuff. You can also pitch journalists, which really is begging, and it violates your dignity. The journalist doesn't really like the begging, and so usually pitches fail. Most pitches fail. The other way that you can get a lot of PR is if you're Donald Trump. So if you're Donald Trump, it's easy to get PR. I mean, this guy hasn't had to spend a dime on his presidential campaign. He just says stuff, he says crazy things, and he gets all this news attention. It's the most brilliant campaign that's ever been run for the presidency of the United States, because it's the cheapest campaign ever, and he's getting more publicity than anybody else. But what are the rest of us supposed to do? If the pitching doesn't work, the press release doesn't work, we're not Donald Trump, how do we get the credibility, the influence, and all that? So what if you didn't need any of that? What if you could get that credibility, that influence, those benefits that you want from those publications, but you didn't have to go and kneel at the altar of those publications in order to get it? So there are 3 ways that I'm going to share to do this. These are things that I've done for myself, for my agency, for my clients, to get them those results without having to go to these mainstream publications. This is stuff anybody in this room can do. So the first thing is LinkedIn Pulse. Show of hands, how many of you know what LinkedIn Pulse is? Okay, so just a few of you. So LinkedIn Pulse, if you're on LinkedIn, you go up to the interests button in the navigation, click there. There's this thing that says Pulse, and if you go into there, there's this whole publishing platform that a lot of people don't know about. So anybody can publish to LinkedIn Pulse. All you have to do is click there, you click on this Publish a Post button, and then you add an image, you create a headline, and you start writing. It's a blog post, but it's going to be published on LinkedIn. Now, when you publish on the LinkedIn Pulse network, it goes out to everybody that you're connected to, anybody who's following you, and it can go actually quite a bit farther than that. So I did an experiment. I took one of my Forbes articles, I published it on Forbes, and it was an article about getting fit and how this saved my business. I lost a lot of weight a few years ago, and it got 2,765 views as of yesterday. Now that sounds great, right? How many people do we have in this room? Maybe 200 or so. This has gotten over 10 times as many views as there are people in this room. That's great, right? That's a lot of attention, that's a lot of traffic. But I took that exact same article, I copied it, I pasted it onto LinkedIn Pulse. Now on Forbes, I can publish things and I'm on Forbes. Not everybody can do that. On LinkedIn Pulse, I'm nobody special. I'm just like anybody else. Anybody can publish anything they want on LinkedIn Pulse. So I took that same content, put it on LinkedIn Pulse, where I'm just a normal person like anybody else, and what happened? 14,000 views on LinkedIn Pulse, and 221 comments so far, and it's growing. So same article on Forbes got a fraction of the views that that article got on LinkedIn Pulse. Anybody can do this. Anybody can post to LinkedIn Pulse and get this kind of traffic to their content. So how do you do this? The key is to get featured on LinkedIn Pulse. If you just post something and it doesn't get featured, it might get 50 views, it might get 100 views, it might get a few 200 views. But if you get the attention of the LinkedIn algorithm, then it gets featured, and then you get a lot of traffic to that. Now, we can't go into how to get featured here. We don't have time. My slides are already online. If you go to my Twitter profile, Josh Steimle, there's a link there to my slides. There's a link in the slides to an article on how to get featured on LinkedIn Pulse. The main point I want to drive home today is that this network exists. You can post content there, and you can get major exposure through it. So the next one, BuzzFeed community. How many of you read BuzzFeed? Show of hands again. Okay, so maybe half of you, and the other half are just embarrassed to say that they do. So BuzzFeed, you know, as this crazy website where there are all these really annoying headlines like this happened, and when you see what happened, your jaw will drop. They're experts at writing those kinds of cheesy headlines because they work. But BuzzFeed has this section that's kind of like LinkedIn Pulse. It's called BuzzFeed Community. And in the BuzzFeed Community area, anybody can post here. Again, a lot of people don't know about this, but anybody can go there, set up an account. You can post content to BuzzFeed Community. Doesn't have to get approved or anything. You just throw it up there, and it's up on BuzzFeed Community. The benefit of this is that now your content is associated with this brand. Somebody comes to, or they see that link, they see, oh, this is on BuzzFeed. They don't know what BuzzFeed Community is. They just think it's a normal BuzzFeed article. So you can throw content up here. So what I did was, so you go here, you can click on New Post. So we had a client called Beard Brand. They make products for guys with beards. They make beard oil. They make beard grooming kits, all this stuff that I can't use, but they're a client of ours. And we were brainstorming ideas for blog posts for Beard Brand. And one day I was out running and I had this idea. You know what we should do? We should do a blog post on the Beard Brand blog showing what the US presidential candidates would look like if they had beards. That would be interesting. That'd be kind of funny. So I went to Beard Brand with this and they said, oh, we don't do politics, nothing to do with politics. It's probably a good idea, a good policy for them to have. So then I thought, well, hey, I went to them and I said, can we post this blog post with these presidential candidates with beards somewhere else, and we'll just say that it was a rejected marketing idea that you guys didn't want to run with, and that way you still kind of get the publicity for it, and we can still put this funny content out there. And they said, oh yeah, sure. So I went to BuzzFeed Community. I thought it was a good fit for this, and we posted it on there. So here's this article, what would the 2016 US presidential candidates look like with beards? And I had some guy in Pakistan do some Photoshop work on some of these people. And so you've got Jeb Bush with a beard, you've got Donald Trump with a beard. It distracts from his hair, so that's kind of a good thing for him. You've got Marco Rubio, you know, he's the Cuban, so I said make him look kind of like Castro. And then I'm a believer in equal rights, so we had to throw the women in there as well. So Hillary Clinton with a beard. So we threw this up on BuzzFeed, and we spent a little bit of money, a very minor amount of money on Facebook ads to drive some traffic there and kind of seed it to get it going. And what were the results that we got from this? In 30 days, 110,000 views of this article on BuzzFeed. A lot of that traffic went through to our client Beard Brand's website. People bought products because of it. They got some SEO value out of it. So this was a successful campaign that was very inexpensive for our client. And again, anybody can do this on the BuzzFeed community site. So again, the key on BuzzFeed, just like with LinkedIn Pulse, is you want to get featured. And again, we can't go into that here, but how do you do that? There's a link in here, a guy explaining exactly how you get featured in the BuzzFeed community area. And you can find that link on my Twitter profile in the presentation. So the third way to create content and get it out there for free and get these results is through SlideShare. If you're not familiar with SlideShare, it's like YouTube for PowerPoint. I don't know about you guys, but me on a Friday night, my wife says, hey, let's go see a movie. And I'm like, why don't we stay home and look at PowerPoint presentations on SlideShare? I mean, that's what I want to do. So SlideShare might sound like the most boring website in the world. It's a website full of PowerPoint presentations, but it gets a lot of traffic. And there are a lot of actually quite interesting PowerPoint or slide decks up there. So I did some experimenting a few months ago. I set up my profile. I started posting slide decks to SlideShare. And within 6 months, with 6 slide decks, I generated 70,000 views of my slide decks. A lot of these people clicked through to our website. People contacted us wanting to hire us because of this. We got a lot of real tangible results from these slide decks that I put up on SlideShare. Now, the presentation that I'm doing right now, it's already up on SlideShare. Whenever I do a speech like this or a talk or something, or I write an article, I take that, I turn it into a slide deck, I stick it up on SlideShare. I've already done the work, I might as well put it up there, and then you get the extra traffic from this. And there are popular slide decks up there that have 6 slides. There are others that have 200 slides. The popular slide decks do not necessarily have amazing graphics or video or things like that. What they do have is authentic, high-quality, useful, valuable content. And so again, the key here, once again, is to get featured on SlideShare. My 6 presentations, 6 in a row, all got featured. So go look at the presentations I've done. Oh, you just saw mine. So this one hasn't been featured yet. I just stuck it up today, but if I'm lucky, this will be the 7th one that gets featured in a row. Once it gets featured, then it gets thousands or tens of thousands of views versus a few hundred. So those are 3 ways to, or 3 places that you can publish content for free and generate real tangible results for yourself, for the agency, the organization, for whoever you're working for. So the process that I often follow is I create a blog post, I write something down, then I copy that over to LinkedIn Pulse, I copy it over to BuzzFeed Community, also Medium if you're familiar with that website. I convert that blog post into a SlideShare or a slide deck, and then I post it on SlideShare, and then I share the heck out of this stuff on social media. Every time I do this, I get tangible results from it, and it's not that time-consuming, really, to create this content and post it up there. So, again, anybody can do this, and you can get the credibility, the influence, the sales, the ego boost, and sometimes it even leads to that major media coverage that you're after. Sometimes journalists see what you're doing here, and they'll contact you and say, hey, I want to write about something you said for a story. So it can give you that media exposure that you're really looking for as well. So again, if you have any questions, happy to answer them. Find me on Twitter. That's my blog. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we present Danku.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, can you guys hear me? All right. Okay, anyway, I'll be really honest. I wasn't told to prepare a slide, so I don't have any slides or whatsoever. So these guys have really done a good job of like 15-minute slides. So I'll just give you a really brief introduction about myself in case you're wondering who's this guy sitting right here. So basically, my name is Dan. Who is there? No slide for all. No, let's keep going. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yes, I'm a YouTube personality in Malaysia. If someone can just kindly tweet my website over there, because I have no control over it, so the rest of you can see. Yeah. Anyway, please, Chris, can you like? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. So basically, what I do is I upload videos on YouTube. I'm a very terrible business person. I do not know how to run professional business, so I'm all about fun. And I just create content, like viral contents. I don't know what you consider viral here, but does this 100,000 above sound viral? If that sounds viral, then yes, I do viral content. So we upload videos every week, sometimes even twice a week if we are feeling a bit passionate. And what is Rajin? Hardworking. Hardworking, yes. Yeah, so if I'm feeling hardworking, we just upload 2. But usually it's once a week. And let's see, what else can we tell you about? Actually, most of the questions I answered today I went on an interview today on Bella and TV7, so if you can just check that out, I answered a lot of questions there. But yeah, but anyway, you can ask me questions later, I guess. There'll be a panel to ask, right? Yeah, because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to present today. But anyway, yeah, that's what we do. I'm just honest, I'm just being really honest here. So I mean, that's what we do. We upload videos on like love, stories, comedies, like short sketches about silly stuff, like really silly stuff that you do not expect to see in real life. We just put it all in a video, and people just love it for some reasons. I don't know why. People like fart jokes and and you know, bad stories or misfortune stories that happens to us. So when we take this into, I mean, we did this for about 4 years already, I guess. And lately, we are seeing, because we are here at this social media week, right? So I'll talk a bit about corporate side. So clients see this as opportunity to hop on the bandwagon. So some of them do. It's a growing trend. It's very big in Singapore already because we can see directly from our friends there. But over this side, we are seeing a trend of more and more clients hopping into videos. So we actually, what we do is we integrate client brands into our video, and we just try to make it go viral together with us. But like what Chili Sauce does, they do viral content as well and branded content in your things, right? Yeah. So that's what we do as well. But we do it in video forms. So, and we try to make it funny. If it doesn't funny, then we get flamed. So that's the reality. We get flamed and we get everything else as well. So yeah, I guess the rest you can ask me later if there's a panel. And I don't want to take up too much of your time. So yes, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now we present Miss Christine.
Okay, I'll try the microphone again. Can you hear me? Hear me all right? Yes? Yes, okay. Well, I had prepared some slides and it's coming up. Yeah, it's coming up. I did a lot of work in my first slide, so I hope you enjoy this, because we're talking about the future of content creation, and I think this is the future of content creation. I love Snapchat. You see some images from Snapchat, and you probably know also the faces on Snapchat, that you turn your camera around and you can make this pretty awful faces, and you can also do a face swap. Have you tried it out, this face swap? It's pretty scary too. But it's also really nice to do and to spend your time playing with Snapchat. And yeah, the emoticons, the emojis are very important, and just be a boss at creating content is what I want to tell you. You have to try and you have to experiment, because in this time, young people have, and not only young people, I'm guilty too, have a short attention span. We like our content to be short, and it's difficult to get your message across in 10 seconds. Like on Snapchat, you don't have more than 10 seconds. So you have to experiment with 10 seconds video to get your message across. And it's called snackable content. And I hate the word snackable, but it's just the word that is good for this type of content, I guess. The clicker doesn't work. Maybe, oh, thank you, yeah. Well, number one to consider, of course, are the emojis. These are the most popular emojis, the 10 most popular emojis on Twitter. So it doesn't say if it's on Snapchat. But these ones are for Twitter. And most of them are positive. We only have 2 negatives, like the crying one and the one that says meh. And the rest is positive. And that's also what social media is about. Mostly we're positive. I heard that Malaysian people can be negative about their food on Twitter, but maybe you can use the images about the crying. So these are emojis, and we also noticed that Facebook added emojis to their comments. There was a lot of talk about it today and yesterday. So emojis express our feelings in just one image. That's also what is the future about. And also for business, we don't use emojis a lot yet, but that will come. There will be used much more emojis in our also email. Can we have next? Yeah. Well, this is the motto of my life. There is an app for that. Whenever I think, hey, this is cool content, how do they do this? I'll just search, and there's an app for that, I'll assure you. You have an app to create GIFs. You have maybe if you're searching for GIFs, you find giphy.com. It's just a website, but they also have an app. They have a Giphy Cam. They have 2 different kinds of apps where you can create your own GIFs and where you can share them. So they're so funny and good to use in your blog post, on your Instagram, on your Facebook. Maybe you know Boomerang too. Boomerang is from Instagram. It's an app that creates very short seconds of video where you repeat a certain, like a step or when you're drinking a cup of coffee. You can do funny things with it. You have to play with it for a while and then you'll get it. Cinemagraphs, a bit like boomerangs, and these are such simple apps. Just swipe with your finger, like with the cinemagraphs. You swipe with your finger over an image, and that part of the image will stay still. Well, you type a video and then you swipe with your finger to make it stand still for a while. So that's really funny too. Try it out. Time lapses, stop motion, video, there's apps for that. Text on images are my favorite too. They're very good for Pinterest and for Instagram. Just have a beautiful image and add some beautiful text. It's just like you're an art director. With apps like, they're called Over. Over is a very nice app. And A Beautiful Mess. I use A Beautiful Mess too. So these apps make you like an art director. You don't need any art directors. You do, of course, but it makes it very easy. Well, on Instagram, that's the thing, the future. The future lies also on Instagram, in creating visual content that is very attractive. And I will let you in on a secret for Instagram. The best tip I will give you today for Instagram is subject focus. It's the most difficult thing to do, I think. But like you can see here, what works is the account of Symmetry Breakfast, which is the guy in London who makes breakfast for his friend every morning, and he posts a photo of it every morning on Instagram. Same time, same photo, same angle. And this is what people like. They like to know who they are following, and they have to decide in seconds if they're going to follow you. And if you have an image line like this, that will work. If you have only trees, that will work. If you only nature, that will work. It have to be beautiful pictures, of course. But the focus is important. I can do this myself because I want to show my kids, I want to show myself, I want to show my work. There's no focus at all. But that's my focus. I don't focus. So I won't be big on Instagram. I have like 4,000 followers. I think this is big, but I won't grow any further. I know, unless I focus. And so I turned over to Snapchat because I know on Instagram you have to create beautiful images. And the reality, if I'm now here standing up, this is not an interesting image on Instagram, because maybe the light is off, or I don't look very good here with a jacket, or whatever. So I turned to Snapchat to show you the real-time reality. I'm snapping all day, and that's what you can do too. But you have to practice, because it's difficult. I think Snapchat is a whole new world with new. You have to swipe through the app, and the content you create is totally different. I guess the cartoonists here, the YouTubers, will maybe find Snapchat interesting because you can doodle and you can do really cool stuff with Snapchat. But you have to practice, and you have to make it work for you. And I like the middle images from the Los Angeles Museum of Art. They do really funny things on Snapchat. Like this one is a piece of art in their museum. And I put up words with it like Netflix and chill. And the third one, the image is just a guy who is doodling on his professor, like it's the Titanic. So crazy and funny is nice, but you have to practice and experiment. That's Snapchat. Next one is YouTube. We just had Dan. And YouTube is also a channel a lot of brands and people seem to forget. That's a pity, because there are a lot of good YouTubers out there that are now very popular. Like the middle guy you see here, he is the biggest YouTuber in the world, and he's bigger, 3 times bigger than every TV channel altogether. So like the Ellen Show is the most popular YouTube channel with like 18 million followers, but PewDiePie, he is 26, he lives in Sweden, he has over 40 million followers on YouTube. And what does he do? He plays games. So, and while all the companies don't know what to do with YouTube and are saying, yeah, okay, video, it's hard to make, it's expensive, those guys play games. And those girls, they put on makeup. And they do this on their desk playing and with makeup and with games. It's so easy. You don't have to create a very expensive video. So watch these YouTubers, they are the future. And the last one in my talk is live streaming. Who is live streaming at the moment? Nobody, I noticed. I saw somebody live streaming yesterday. Live streaming is also a type of content you would like to experiment with, especially at events. You can live stream at Periscope. Periscope is an app which is connected to Twitter. If you have a lot of Twitter followers, it has most sense that you try on Periscope. If you can also do it on Snapchat. It's not really live streaming, but on Snapchat it will stay 24 hours. It's sort of live. But now Facebook also added it. So if you have a Facebook page with a lot of followers, you can live stream. If you have a YouTube channel, you can also go to live streaming. So there are many options to go live streaming, and you should experiment and try it out. It only makes sense on certain moments. You don't always want to live stream your company, or when you have meetings. That's very boring content. You have to have cool content, of course. So all these options you have to try out and make the content for the future, for the new generation, the snackable content within 10 seconds. So I want to ask you, go out and create and download apps and do your stuff. Show people cool content. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Right now, we welcome Ernest.
Hey guys, I was hoping my turn never comes. Because I'm going to be very honest with you. It's almost 5. I'm the last speaker of the day. And I'm very, very sure that every one of you just, screw it, I just want to go home, right? Okay, really? Okay, so anyway, I'm going to be very honest as well. Very much like my partner here, Dan. I also have nothing prepared. All right? But anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm Ernest. You may have seen me on YouTube, but I'm actually more predominantly known as a cartoonist. I draw webcomics online. Started it 5 years ago. And I would say I'm the major contributor of the junk food of the internet. Basically, I draw cartoons, which is toilet humor, adult humor, and sometimes touching a bit of nostalgia. You know, because I believe drawing cartoons is the best way I could express myself. Like just now, Chuck said that content, people's attention span is about like, what, 6 minutes? 6 minutes something?
7.
Yeah, right. About that, 7 minutes. Okay, I got it. So about 7 minutes. Sorry, just kidding. About 7 minutes. But then cartoons, we go less than that. People don't take that much time reading cartoons. People take it like less than a minute, maybe 30 seconds. If it's a simple frame cartoon, just one frame of cartoon, you take less than a minute to read. And also people are more inclined to share it. So that's why I stuck with that. But apart from that, I also have expanded towards doing YouTube. I've appeared in various YouTube videos, and I've actually worked very closely with Dan here. And we also have established our own production studio called Macamnya Studio, so you guys should go check it out. And basically, I'm going to just focus more on the cartoon side of things. Basically, I feel personally, cartoon, apart from dancing, are the two forms of arts that no one respects. Why? Because people think it's too easy to be done. You see a guy dance, you see like people like, okay, my friend Dennis, he's like a world international dancer. And you see that he does it so effortlessly. Or you see people like me drawing, right? I just draw, I post something up, like really fast. Within 1 or 2 hours, I produce something. And week after week, I produce content consistently. And everyone say, it's easy. And what do they do after that? Many other corporations will come and take the pictures and re-upload it on their own Facebook page. And how does that affect people like me? And even people like Dan, who they produce videos. These thieves, what we call freebooters lah. All right, so I want to just mention that if any of you guys are like that, on the social media scale, I will not be your friend. Simple as that. Okay, so anyway, I draw cartoons because people think it's very easy. But what they forget that it took me 20 over years to do something that is hard and I make it look easy. So I really do not know where I'm really going with this. All right, and like then, if you guys have any questions to ask about content, because basically Dan and I, we're just content creators. We're just doing it for fun, and we don't expect that we'll have the opportunity to stand on stage here and speak to the real professionals like you guys, because we're just a bunch of bummers actually. Yeah. So I guess that's about it. Any questions? I'll just be free to ask. Thanks.
All right, thank you, panelists. Okay, so do you have any questions on the floor? Twitter go. All right, so let me take a look. Okay, it's a bit laggy. You found it? Okay. Sorry about that. She's still loading your questions.
There's one question here. I can read it out.
All right.
Well, I've got a question. So Kirsten, with Snapchat, the big question is, how do you build a following? Because on Snapchat, there's no retweet. The discover feature for finding people is kind of tough to use. So how do you build a following on Snapchat?
Yeah, good question. Most brands have they think this is very difficult, but there are a few things you can do, of course. With Snapchat, you have a snap code. So it's a very funny way to add people, is to make a picture of the snap code. It's called the snap code, and you can see it a lot on Twitter, like with Huffington Post and Mashable. They all have their Twitter profile photo is a Snapchat code, a snap code. And what you do is you make a photo, a screenshot of it, you go to Snapchat, you add a snap code, and then you can follow those people. So actually, you have to promote your account on other platforms. That's what you do. That's on one hand, and the other hand is working together with big influencers, with big Snapchatters, so you can they can see you and discover you. Yeah, that's the way for Snapchat.
Thank you. I think, yeah, you're asking, right? All right.
That's one. Okay. Cool. Hi again. Don't get boring, No one want to pick up this opportunity. Okay, hi, my name is Lokman. We have various of content from Doodle, from Abang Police Earners in your, don't like that, few other things, all right. How we able to determine the content of our campaign, brands campaign, in the right platform?
Is this towards me?
No, actually for everyone. I mean,
Okay.
In sense of me, somehow like Doodle probably like get some point from the artwork, like the comic together with Doodle, or maybe Snapchat, YouTube video content, or even getting up a write-up community. I mean, how are you able to determine the campaign that I run in the right platform?
Okay, why don't I answer first? Okay, so I think for most brands, just forget about video and comics. Just go with viral content. I think that's probably the best. So editorial platforms like Chili Sauce are amazing
Thanks,
for all brands. Doesn't matter which brand that you go to. Yeah, that's all. No, actually, it depends on what you want to do. I mean, different platforms are good at different things. Twitter is good for conversions, I think. Websites are good. Websites like ours, lifestyle websites, are good for branding and awareness. I think, Dan, what do you think about this?
I guess I'm just producing videos on YouTube. So if brands want to like engage in story mode, like they rather don't like they don't want people to read like 1,000 word essay. I mean, I'm just kidding. Okay, very good. So anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm just doing videos for clients who want their stories to be in story mode and hop on the bandwagon and sort of like, I don't know, I guess tap into our market. Because our age group is the younger groups, we are a bit more like, crazy, like 16 to 35, that kind of age group. So yeah, I guess, and we have like following, already, what you call this, established following, so people just want to tap on it. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I mean, let's just say if you do not have like 5 minutes to watch a video and you want to get your content across, like right here, right now, we need it fast. And I believe that's, you can go to a platform where it's cartoons and Facebook, where the share button is just one click away. I mean, and an example, like the Nando's one, I wouldn't say it's a comic, but it's an image. Like, so I would actually correlate image and comics has to be quite similar. So you see how fast Nando's come out with their campaigns, with all the things, with all their witty lines like that. It comes out really quick, like within 24 hours. The response time for images, I think, could be much faster. If you want to do a video, if you want to write something, it takes some time, more time to produce. But for cartoons and images, it's faster. So it depends on what speed that you want to jump on it. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Is there anyone? Chris.
So just wondering for each and every one of your expertise in the platforms, what do you call it, posting information on the other portals, to having your own portal, to videos, to drawing cartoons. How do you, what kind of expectation are your employers, people who pay you to write the events, what kind of expectation of KPIs do you offer back? Is there something, is it fixed? Do you know that if you share an article or write an article, they will get how many shares? Or, you know, in Josh's case, if you post it up on something like BuzzFeed, you know, is that something that you can promise your clients? You know, 5,000 views, 30,000 views, even comic bloggers like Ernest. You know, is that can you guarantee? Is that something that they expect, or do you work something else with them? Like, you know, here, this is my work. I draw for you. You post it on your platform, and then, you know, it's totally up to you on how you're going to post it or get your KPIs. So that's my question.
For my part, with our clients, we tell them not everything we do is going to be a hit. It's not going to always go viral. We can't control this. So we have our expertise, we have our experience, we have ideas, we come up with ideas, but we tell them, hey, maybe 1 out of 5 is going to be a bigger one. Maybe 1 out of 10 is going to be a really big one that's going to go viral. But the key to any sort of content marketing is to do it consistently and make it a long-term thing. You don't do a content marketing campaign for 3 months or 6 months. Content marketing is something that you do as a company on an ongoing basis. You never stop doing it. If you're thinking of it as a 6 to 12 month thing where you're going to do 4 blog posts a month, you're thinking about it the wrong way, because the way you should be thinking about it is we always produce content that connects with our target audience. That's just what we do as a company, and we're always going to do that. And that's how you become successful with it.
Yeah, we agree.
Well, for my part, is one of the famous things that I always get from clients is when they come to see me, here's a bunch of money, and I want this content to be viral. So unlike you, I don't get to say, no. We always have to just accept, like, oh, okay, we'll try our best. But they just say, like Ernest also face it.
Yeah, basically sometimes I just joke around. I say, I don't think you know what that word means. Because viral is a very subjective thing. That
they throw it around so
yeah, they just throw it around as if it's like they know what they're talking about. The thing is, as content creators, we cannot guarantee how viral a content could be. For example, I did a campaign with, I think it was MDEC, for one of the Dota tournaments that recently held in Stadium Negara. It reached about 11,000 people for the blog post alone. Whereas when I did, then it was like, okay, 11,000 people, it was kind of like below average to me. But when I did this one comic, okay, Malaysians, you can relate very well. I did a comic I did a hashtag for it, Apu Nene, and it reached 1 million people. And it wasn't even a branded content. So it's something that you cannot expect, like how Josh said it. It should be something that is consistent, because the online crowd, to me, how to say, they're always changing. And you have to grow and evolve with them. And if there's certain type of content they like, then you have to catch on to that and produce that sort of content that could attract the audience that you look for.
Yeah, I worked with a lot of brands and influencers also, and I agree with yours, of course. You can guarantee the minimum views you have on your website or on your social. But the more influence you give to the influencer, or blogger, or media brand, the better the content will be and the more chance there is that it will go viral. And don't tell them, use this image, use this sentence, use this campaign name. You have to give them all the freedom, then you have the most chance that it will be seen.
All right, so, well, you guys make it so easy. So how difficult is it to do what you do? Making videos, drawing comics, writing an article, writing blogs? It's for you guys. Question. From Anonymous.
Oh, it's from you. I mean, like, okay, Kendrick, you yourself draw cartoons, right?
Yeah.
Right. So how is it easy for you to draw cartoons? Please say no. No, is it easy for you to draw cartoons? You draw cartoons, right? Yeah.
Yep.
You're my friend. I know you draw cartoons online.
Yep, definitely.
So to basically put it, like people like just now said lah, you know, like I spent 20 over years perfecting my. We as content creators, we try to perfect our craft over time. So saying things that are easy I wouldn't say, because it takes a certain amount of experience to make it look easy. Yeah, I don't think Leonardo da Vinci would say drawing is easy also. Yeah.
So how do you charge? Is there a standard price?
Then
As we know, chili sauce charges 15K to 25K.
yeah, so
Well,
a range.
don't you think is it based on, yeah, well, we have number of reach, number of engagement and everything. Is it also based on experience? Well, someone just, someone can be so famous that appears all the while, he just draws stickman and it just gets famous.
No, I guess.
Because of people sharing about it.
Yeah, I guess
And then,
if the price you want to charge, right, is entirely up to you. You set the market rate if you're your own industry. Then if people want, they just come. So if they don't want, then you know that your price is not right. Or maybe you're just not good enough, that's all.
Of course, you have to handle expectations. You don't just you're just a small timer and then someone comes up to you, I charge 100,000 for this campaign, but you have no idea what you're doing. Of course, then you're going to ruin yourself. So basically, just know where you stand in the market at the current rate and try to work from there. I mean, it's also trial and error, but try not to sell too low and try not to go overboard at the same time.
I think from a content perspective, content publisher perspective, it's about reputation. So, if you have a good reputation, if you've done well for previous campaigns, then you can charge more, Yeah.
Basically, if you're a content pusher, don't do it for exposure.
thank you.
I know some prices for Instagrammers. I work with Instagrammers and in Europe and in the US. If you have over 100,000 followers, you can ask from around 1,000 euros, which is like, what is it, 80...
1 million ringgit.
Well, and there's a fashion blogger who has 3 million followers. Her name is Negan Mirsalehi, and she charges it's like $7,000 or $8,000 for one Instagram picture. You pay her if she promotes your products, but she has 3 million followers, so that's her price in the
How
Instagram
about
world.
you, Joss? Thank you, please.
For my agency, if we do a content marketing campaign, the cost can really vary a lot because what you want to do varies a lot. But our minimum starts out at about $20,000 a month is the way that we price our campaigns as our base, and then it goes up from there. But typically the way that we approach it is we go to a client and we say, hey, here's an example of what we're going to do. We're going to come in once a month. We're going to videotape you, the client, for an hour. We're going to get you talking about what you're an expert at. And we're going to put that video up on YouTube. We'll do it on Periscope. We'll put it anywhere else we can put that video, Facebook. Then we're going to chop that up. We're going to turn it into 4 or 5 blog posts. We're going to put these blog posts on your website. We're going to put it on all these different channels. We're going to create some infographics to go with those blog posts. We're going to chop those up and put those out on social media and probably do 120 different social media posts. So that's how we approach content marketing. And so that's kind of our base of what we do. And then it can go up from there.
All right, thank you. So is there any questions? So how about you guys? Oh. All right, okay. We have one day.
Can I? Yeah. I'm like waiting.
You give it.
Could I like?
Yes. All right. Hello. Hi.
Right. This question is actually, I'm Celestia from Singapore. This question is targeted for our ever so fun Dan.
No.
I need some fun answers from you, Dan.
All right, I'll try my best.
All right. It's going to be a very fun question. Right. Basically, I would like to find out. Would you be able to give like 3 pointers for amateur YouTuber to actually create that right content to reach the client targeted audience?
Client.
Yes, the client.
So an amateur guy want to take on client jobs, is it? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Well, usually I would say you have to know your value before you even go and find clients. If not, it would just look really bad on everyone. So anyway, but as to answer that, I guess you have to brainstorm with some friends who are creative, right? Who is this anyway? Are you talking about a person or just a general? You don't have a mic. Okay. Okay, I would say if you are upcoming, don't dwell into clients so fast yet. It's a bit quick. You should build out until you're really familiar, then clients should come to you. I mean, I understand that money, yes, you need to keep it as a business, but try to do it for passion first. If you straight away go for a client, it's a bit hard, I think. Did that answer your question? I'm not really sure. You want 3? Well, I guess you have to wait. Yeah, Ernest can give you 1.
My answer will be a bit direct. If an amateur YouTuber just started out, maybe just 100 subscribers, and he wants to engage with a client, the three pointer is don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah, because client can be brutal and they can really expect a lot from you. And if you don't reach it, they'll just burn you to the ground.
Yeah, it will look bad on the client side, and it will look bad on your side also. Yeah.
So make sure you get good at what you're doing first before you even think about going for clients.
Or you can do it for free first, and then after that convert them to clients once the results show for the first time.
Yeah, I agree actually. If you're really good at what you do and no one is noticing you yet, just do a free product. And then when client sees that, then yeah.
Otherwise, agencies know this as scam ad. Yes. Actually, there's a question I wanted to answer here on Twitter. Is it okay, Kendrick?
Yeah, right.
Actually, 2 people asked the same question. Darth Meow and Juin. Thanks for the questions. They asked, yo, what's up? They asked how to come up with interesting topics. How do you guys come up with interesting topics for content? So I think it's more aimed at publishers, I guess. So maybe you guys go first. Or
Okay, me again?
every week, you guys come up with
Me
something.
again,
Yeah.
I guess all the stories that come out is based on the stupid things that happens to my life. So, I mean, if I'm being direct, it's yes. Like if I just walk on the road and then I just fall down and then, hey, let's make a story out of that. We just twist it in like really funny ways. Like, let's say, Ernest, what's the example of something that we did recently?
I think the recent video that we posted on Dan's channel was the one, My English is Better Than Yours. Because it's basically how we base our content based on everyday lives. We observe things. So we have to be extra observant to see the situations around you. So you see most of the contents, you want it to relate to your target audience. Like the one that My English is Better Than Your English, where the characters in the video play people, Malaysian, speaking in a fake British accent. Yeah. So all of us know we have someone who is like that, right? So because of that observation that we have, we took it and then we actually made a video out of it. So just be observant of the daily quirks, the daily idiosyncrasies of human life.
Yeah, it was just published last night, and right now there's I think almost 40,000 views
In less than 24 hours.
So these kind of things like that. So it's like we just force our friends to do your best British accent. So they go like, hey, can I have a cup of tea? That kind of stuff. But of course, my accent is quite bad, so I don't really do a good impersonation.
Yeah, never do
but
British accent.
the people in the videos, they do a pretty good impersonation. So Chris, if you can just post up that link one more time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, very nice.
I think I agree with Ernest also. Like, it's being more observant about the kind of conversations that you have around you, and also it helps. Like for me, at least, I'm a compulsive Googler. You know, sometimes when someone asks me something, I have to Google it straight away. So you kind of act as that compulsive. So like chili sauce, what we do is we act as that compulsive Googler for our audience. You know, sometimes when you have a conversation in Mamak, you go like, I always wondered about, where La Tali Tamplom came from, right? So we actually went and asked professors about this, like where did La Tali Tamplom come from? And we actually got an answer. So that's something, like you can develop content around that. But just be curious and observant, like what these guys said.
But about that article that you guys wrote, that was one of the most mind-blowing articles I've ever read from Chili Sauce.
Which one?
The Latali Tamplum. Where it originated from.
Yeah. It comes from a Thai dish, by the way. A Thai dish.
Yeah, for us, we work with a lot of different clients, but one of the niches that we have is working with self-storage companies. And self-storage is the most boring industry in the world. It's an industry that's full of companies that own buildings that are shaped like a box. The buildings are full of rooms that are shaped like boxes, and then the rooms are filled with boxes. And people drop their boxes off there, and then they leave them there for 2 years. That's the whole business. The only interesting part about it is that it makes good money for the owners. But at least that's what the owners think. So they hire us and we come in and they say, well, how are you going to make my business interesting? Because it's a commodity. It's just people sticking boxes in rooms. How is this interesting? But any business, it doesn't matter how boring you think it is, there's something interesting about that business to somebody. Otherwise, you wouldn't even have a business. People wouldn't be paying you to do something. So with self-storage, it gets interesting when you start saying, well, what's the craziest thing that you've ever seen in a self-storage thing that you've had to open? We talked to the owners. We're like, you know, sometimes people don't pay their bills. They have to go and they have to empty out the storage locker. And we say, well, what have you found in there? They found... one self-storage client found 3,000 empty milk cartons in a self-storage facility in their locker. I don't know what that person was saving them for. Dead bodies, live bodies, people living in self-storage lockers, pets. I mean, they're just expensive cars, jewelry, money, guns. I mean, they're just all sorts of things that end up in these lockers. And then you say, well, hey, there's content. Top 10 crazy things that you've found in your self-storage facility. There's an interesting piece of content. So that's one way that we find stuff is we just say, you know, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened in your business? Or we'll say, what's a problem that you've experienced in your business and how did you overcome it? There's a piece of content. But we can sit down with clients, even if they think their own business is really boring, like an accounting firm or a law firm, and within an hour we can come up with 50 ideas for blog posts or content or infographics or something. So even if you think your business is boring, it's not. It's just, you have to sit down and start brainstorming. And often it helps to bring in somebody from the outside because you probably think your business is more boring than other people think it is.
Yeah, I do have a tip for you. I am a social media specialist for over 10 years now, and I see every moment in a social media worth. So is this a tweet? Is this a LinkedIn post? Is this a blog post? Is this an Instagram picture? That's what I'm constantly asking myself. Maybe I'm crazy. But that's what you can learn yourself to do. For what piece of content is this, what I'm doing right now? If you're a YouTuber, you have it easy because you make videos for YouTube. So maybe it's better to choose. But if you're a social media specialist or you have more channels, then you really have to think about, okay, this is with audio, so it should not be on Twitter, or maybe you put audio on Twitter with it. So you have to decide on each moment the social media worth. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone?
Hey guys, I'm Daniel. So wanted to ask you on your opinion on what do you think about Snapchat and advertising on it? And is there any pointers to sell it to clients? Because in Malaysia, it's quite a rare thing. Not many brands are on Snapchat, but I see it as the next wave. Yeah.
I see there's a next wave too. Yeah.
High five, man.
But it's difficult, and I put it in my slides that one of the questions I always get is, but the content disappears. So what sense has it when then I go on Snapchat? And also I can't measure. That's also the second thing they say. But you have a few pointers there, because if the content disappears, people come back. If you create good content, within 24 hours, they will return to you to get more content. So I think for advertisers, that is a very interesting thing to consider. And you should create content that is compelling and to a younger target group, and you should work together with them, creating content. With YouTubers, that's what's happening a lot.
See. Just to throw it out there, my company, we actually hosted the first Snapchat treasure hunt in Southeast Asia. So if you guys want to advertise on Snapchat, we are here. Here.
Do it.
Thanks, guys.
Nice plug.
Is anyone asking?
Anyone
Can I ask one question?
All right.
Since after listening to you guys, I'm very sure everyone here who's going to go back and they're going to start creating contents. I'm sure, be it individual, be it for a corporate, or for anything else. I have only one question. What are the don'ts before creating a content?
I'll jump in. Don't focus on quantity, focus on quality. With what we see with a lot of clients is they say, oh, we're going to do 10 blog posts a month, 10 is better than 5. Well, no, maybe one good blog post is better than 100 bad blog posts, because nobody reads bad blog posts. So focus on the quality, not the quantity. And when I say quality, it better be good enough that you want to read it or watch it or listen to it. If you read it yourself and you say, oh, this is boring, but hey, I'm going to throw it out there because we have to throw out a blog post or a video or whatever, then you're just wasting your time, you're wasting your money. Good content is stuff that you want to read. Great content is stuff that people will pay to read or pay to watch. And if you don't think people do that, they do it every day. They buy magazines, they buy newspapers, they buy movies. That's great content. Try creating that kind of content.
I've got something that's just these. I have to say, you have to experiment too. So that's just one thing. If you don't experiment, you don't know what is good content. If you're just starting a new channel, experiment, and then the quality, you will notice after a while what the quality is.
For me, I say don't pull a gotcha. A gotcha is, those kind of content where you think it's normal content, you read, and then at the end there it says, hey, it's a sponsored post, gotcha. So don't do that, because that's the equivalent of you going to a house party, you find this attractive person of the opposite sex talking to you, or same sex, I don't know, whichever one you prefer, and they're talking to you the whole night, and at the end they say, can you come to my MLM conference? So it's that icky feeling that you want to avoid. So don't hide the fact that you're doing sponsored content if it's sponsored content.
I guess if you want to be like a content pusher, I just like to say content pusher, it makes me sound like a drug pusher. If you're a content pusher, you're pushing out content, I guess that just don't be lazy. Because how I built my entire cartoon network, I mean like the entire following on my cartoon, based on my comics, is because I was very consistent, and you just had to put in the time lah. I mean, there's many aspiring cartoonists that came up to me and said that they want to create their own web comics and stuff like that, but they just post once a week, then eventually there's none a week. So eventually when you're lazy, like I said, you're not keeping up with the online crowd, so people will just forget about you. So just be consistent and don't be lazy.
One more quick don't. Don't stop. Too many people start, they get a month or two into it, and they say, oh, I'm not getting any results, it doesn't work. They quit, they write it off, they don't come back to it for 3 years. This stuff, you have to do it ongoing. Like Kirsten said, you have to experiment with this, so keep on going, keep on trying, keep trying new things. If you stop, you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're stopping too soon. It does work.
All right, thank you. We have another one.
Hi, hello. I'm Vidya from Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad. Okay, I have a question that actually Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad, we are the airport operator. We operate 39 airports in Malaysia, but our problem is we do have public who still confused between airlines and airport. They do still think that we are airlines. So I would like to ask your advice or opinion on what kind of content that we can post to educate the public and also, to let them to see the difference between airlines and airport. Thank you.
Usually we take this discussion after we have locked down the deal. So, yeah. I mean, do you guys want to?
My managing editor is sitting right behind you, so please get her card and we'll have this conversation later. But honestly, I don't know. I actually don't think there's that perception. Is there a serious perception that KL Airports is different from like KL Airlines? Or?
Maybe Josh can answer for us.
Well, I just was thinking that would kind of make for a humorous infographic or blog post. I mean, you could actually send out a blog post explaining the difference between airports and airlines for people who might be confused about them being the same thing, and make it into a... Are you familiar with The Onion? The Onion's a publication where everything's satire, everything's fake, but go check out The Onion. Write that type of post, like an Onion type post, explaining the difference between an airport and an airline, but in a very serious way, going into all sorts of detail about how they're different. And that could be pretty humorous and could spread around a bit and get the message out.
Okay, we have a question from Twitter. Okay, here we go. How do we build content on audio basis, such as using SoundCloud? How effective it can be? Do you know SoundCloud? Yeah.
Yeah, basically building your network on SoundCloud. Right. Am I right? Well, I'm not a SoundCloud user, so maybe I'm not the right person to answer this.
Yeah. I know SoundCloud, but I'm not an expert on it either, so... Sorry,
I guess there's
panel.
no SoundCloud user.
Yeah, we don't... All right. Any more questions? None. Whoa. Oh, someone has a microphone.
Yeah,
All right.
that's right. Hi, I'm Tua from Catch the Bus. So we are an agent that sells express bus ticket. Okay. So the challenge that we have was really like when we want to do content, but we can't sustain it for long. And we are kind of concerned that if we go into content, how long will the content last, and how often do we need to refresh it? Because there will be a substantial investment in terms of production and in terms of amplifying the content itself.
Yeah, it all depends on your target audience. If they are 10 times a day on Instagram, you better post a couple of times a day on Instagram. If they watch YouTube videos once a week, you can post once a week. It depends on the behavior of your target audience and how often you will be seen. And of course, creating the great content, not to forget.
All right. I think we actually reached our time here. So I would like to thank you everyone for your time. All right. Okay. So we are ending here. Thank you.